Hey guys, Zeb with Nutmeg Sports, and like I talked about in the introduction, we see guns here all the time that people have had customized, whether it's triggers, grips, safeties, or custom engraving or etching, and sometimes they don't even know that they're actually hurting the value of their collectible gun. And I mean, the worst thing that I think you can personally do, I mean, it's fine if you, at the end of the day, really know it's something that's going to hurt the value. You have to be perfectly okay with that. But when you take a firearm that is collectible, not saying that these are, but let's say you have a beautiful first generation single action, nice gun that's definitely going to go up in value, and you wanted to put your last name on it, engraving, and that's perfectly fine if you want to do it. But just know that when you go sell that gun down the line 10-20 years from now, maybe your kids are, and nobody's really going to want your last name on their gun. So there's pros and cons to everything, but for people that might just be starting out in this and don't really know what's normal or what could hurt the value of their gun, that's kind of what I'm trying to clear up. I'm actually filming this, or I'm filming this right now, post gym, super sweaty. I got a that was probably not needed to say, but I got a strike because I brought up a couple websites that you can buy some PPUs on, and YouTube didn't like it very much, so please ignore this little part that gets a little crappy in the middle. I had to, kind of edit it out. So yeah, thank you. Hope you guys liked it. People that are just getting into it, they can't afford something that's still an original finish, that's in really good shape, that's something collectible. But that's something that we'll get into later completely. So they'll buy something crappy. Let's say this gun finish was all stripped off, it's all scratched and got gouges and shit in it, and you take it home, you say, great, well, this thing looks like crap, I gotta fix it, so you send it off to a gunsmith. You have to find a reputable gunsmith. You have to find somebody that's done the work before. You have to see examples of the work. Don't just go off, oh, my buddy said that he can do it for, $20 and a 30 rack. But because these guys are gonna have to take apart this gun completely, weld all the little gouges and cracks and polish them up nice. And if you get somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, they're gonna over polish the gun and over finish it, which is gonna wear off all your markings, round your edges, and give you an overall improper fitment of your gun. And that's really gonna hurt the value, and it's something that you're gonna have to pay a lot to fix if you can even fix it. I've seen that so many times in my time being here, and it really bites people. Another thing is, you can see both of these guns have aftermarket grips on them. These are giraffe bone, and with something like this, it's not a huge deal. It's just a 1911. You can find factory 1911 grips online for $10-15 probably. But with these are giraffe bone 1911 grips. Obviously they're custom, but if you put custom grips on, let's say you had a US property stamped 1903 hammerless and had everything factory beautiful condition, you know what it was, and I'm gonna put some ivory grips on it or this or that, and take your old grips, throw them in a box somewhere, you don't know where they are. I don't care how much you paid for somebody to put ivory grips on it, whether it was me or somebody else, that set of grips on there that was original to the gun are worth 10 times more than whatever set of grips you can possibly put on it. Every original part, every original screw, bolt, safety, trigger, hammer, everything that's original to the gun is worth money. So you never want to lose any of those parts. Whenever you put anything aftermarket on it, just have a little piece set aside in a bag, label it, organize it, keep it in the safe, keep it in the box with the gun. because not only is it a red flag when you go to sell it, let's say you changed out your trigger. If I had a different trigger on this, someone would say, that's a different trigger, it's a different hammer, that beaver tail safety, that's not, error correct, and, where are these grips on? Do you have the regular grips? No, I don't, I lost them. It's just pinging off red flags for people, so you're going to drop value in your gun that way as well. So always stay organized, always keep your parts handy. Now back to what I was saying about, somebody engraving their last name, their name, something like that. Having a gun like this, like a 1911, and making it so it's yours, basically, it's really doable. I mean, like I said, this has aftermarket grips on it. You could take these grips, we made these obviously, but we could take these and we can get them, laser etched for you, hand etched, checkered, and we could have your initials put into the grip. If you don't want it to be so apparent on the gun, then that's something that you can do. There's other ways to go around it while having what you want on it on a removable part of the gun, basically. So if you talk to the right people and you're working with the right companies, they'll kind of help you figure that out. So that's a huge thing. Then you see something like this, which this is a Series 80. These aren't period correct walnut grips. These are actually like Series 70 grips that you would see, which that would, it wouldn't hurt the resale value, but I mean, this gun's got target sights, it's a combat commander. There's guns like these that we're not super worried about the resale value on. And if you don't want to be worried about the resale value, you want to buy all these guns you want to scribble Sharpie on them, that's your choice. You can do what you want. But I'm just letting you know that having the time appropriate pieces, non-customized parts, is going to really help the value of these guns in the long term. Also, these guns both came exactly how you see them, besides, the grips mainly. And if I were to strip this gun down, this frame, and I wanted to case color it, or I wanted to do it in bright nickel or silver, gold, or anything like that, that's technically, not how it left the factory. Most of these collectible Colts are most valuable in the way that they left the factory. Now, I understand, I'm all for doing something cool. I actually have a project coming up that I'm working on for one of my personal guns that I'm case coloring the frame, and that was never even an option. I don't even think anybody's even done one, which, I'm going to do a whole video on that, so you guys will see that soon. But, end of the day, a lot of these guys that are collecting and buying older stuff, they're strict about what they want, and I don't really blame them. If you're spending thousands of dollars on a Colt just for it to, sit in a case, or in the slight chance that someone's actually going to carry this thing, they want it to look time appropriate, be time appropriate, everything about it, how it left the factory it's going to be in its most valuable state if it's in good condition. You can't neglect these things. It's like we have a silver plated, fully engraved gun, beautiful gun. And every once in a while, we'll pull it out of the safe, and you even touch the finish and it gets tarnished. Strip it down, refinish it, strip it down, refinish it. And over time, it's something that you don't want to keep doing. So like, obviously something that's like that, high end, then take care of it. But if it's something like this where, you can touch it, you're not worried about the finish coming off or tarnishing or rusting or anything like that, just do some upkeep. Take it apart every once in a while, clean everything out. You shoot the gun regularly. You should clean your gun regularly as well. If it's a safe clean, take it out, oil it, make sure everything's tight. You want to take it apart, take it apart. People are always scared to take their expensive guns apart. When you have the right tools and the right equipment, it's not very hard. You need a nice set of flathead screwdrivers and you'll be fine. With any single action or anything like that, people are always nervous to take them apart. I get calls every week almost asking me if I can take their gun apart. And I always tell them, try it yourself. At the end of the day, all you can really do is mess up a screw. And if you can really mess them up, I guess, if you want to go that far, as to say you can, drag the screw across the frame or whatever. But most of the time, if you're being really careful, that doesn't happen. Take apart your guns, look at them, know how they work, and don't neglect them. Foam cases, they trap moisture. Keep these guns, they want to be dry, cool, temperature controlled, moderately storage. So you don't want these guns going from cold to hot, cold to hot, cold to hot, cold to hot all the time. And a nice, little temperature difference is perfectly fine, seasonal and stuff like that. But the most important thing is making them dry. At the end of the day, a lot can happen to a gun. They're pretty fucking resilient, but when you get them wet, the water will creep under the finish and it'll start pulling that finish up. And once it starts, it's really difficult to stop. And you're better off just stripping and polishing and replating the whole gun. So you have to do proper upkeep. And they have little, if you're safe, if you don't have one, a little free shout out here for Goldenrod. They keep everything dry in the safe. We've had one in the safe for, I think, ever since I've been alive. And it has worked perfectly to retain quality in all the guns that we have in there. One of the last things that I'll talk about is, this was me included 100%. When I first really got into this stuff, I was like, oh man, look at this. I would go into the gun shop and, I'd say I'm looking in the case and, oh wow, they got a brand new Colt 1911 in the display. That's really cool. That's going to be collectible. And, hey, I could be right. I could be wrong. I can't tell the future. But not every gun is collectible. Always get a second opinion. Always ask someone that you trust, because at the end of the day, you could be going down a whole big path for something that's just going to cost you money. It's fine. I mean, this industry is going to cost you a lot of money either way, because it's quite expensive to be a part of. But if you want to, flip a gun or, buy one and, sell it on a gun broker or something like that, and your main goal is to make money on it, then really know what you're doing beforehand, because I've seen a lot of people that'll go in and buy a gun and start throwing money at it left and right. I'm refinishing it, and they want to put grips on it and this and that. And then they're like, oh, well, I'm going to probably sell it and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, great. Like, well, your bill's $3,000. And they're like, oh, okay, great. They pay the bill, and then they sell the gun for $2,500. And it's a big problem where it's just a lack of knowledge. I don't know everything. I don't know a little bit. But I do know that I always check with, whether it's my family, some other people in the business and the industry that know more about me than this stuff, because I don't really fully trust myself when I'm looking at something to know exactly what it is sometimes. And it's helped me a lot. I've made a lot of good purchases. I've made a lot of bad purchases, but you gotta learn how to see what you want, basically, because there's different variations of every gun out there, and they could just be the tiniest bit different. And a normal person could go up and say, okay, well, that's a $16,000 gun. And then you send it to a gunsmith and they're like, oh, well, this is actually a $4,000 gun because it doesn't have this little stamp right here. It doesn't have this little mark right here. The last thing, for real this time, that I did want to talk about is bad gunsmithing. So we're not like huge into gunsmithing here. We do a decent amount, but what we have seen come from other places is pretty ridiculous at times. There are people that just, leave marks on the gun, put on improper roll marks because they didn't have the right roll mark, they didn't have the right stamp. But when you send them to a gunsmith and let's say they gotta polish this slide down, they get rid of the Commander lightweight and the Rampant Colt on there, and they just stamp it with a horse right there. Great, but it's not right. So really pay attention to what you're doing. If the price is too good to be true, so is the work. You get what you pay for in this industry wholeheartedly. Some people are amazing to work with, some people are not. I will let you figure that out yourself, but please, if you guys have any questions or you have a gun you don't know about, you have anything to ask me, please DM me on Instagram or Facebook or drop a comment. Let me know what you got. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm more than happy to answer them. Give me a call. Again, Nutmeg Sports. My name is Evan, and I hope this helped you guys, because I've seen it way too often for the short amount of time that I've been doing this, and I just want people to be more aware. So, hope you guys have a good one.